generator, go get gas. But let's just get to the goods. What's up, everybody? Live before lock / strategy show, whatever you want to call this. A lovely Monday, September 2nd, Labor Day. I hope everybody is enjoying their Labor Day. We are laboring for all of you to do a show right now. Got a early slate on a Monday. We don't normally have that. Jake and I are here to break it all down. We're going to go through each game, like we normally do. Hit on a couple overarching things for the slate, and then going to bounce out of here and enjoy the rest of our day. Jake, what's up? How's your weekend?
It's good, man. A lot of family time. It was fun. So cannot complain about the weekend, and starting right back up with a morning slate. I guess morning for me.
Yeah.
It'll be noon by the time you get done with this show, but
I've been up since 6:15, brother.
Nothing new there.
Nope.
Rise and grind.
Yep. I had a lot to do today. So, how much Verlander did you have yesterday?
Was over the field.
That's good.
Yeah, I ended up doing pretty well.
Nice.
Pretty well in the lower stake stuff. My top 50 that I put in the $10 or whatever weren't great. So I felt like breaking even. I just need to commit to doing the 150 at some point here in the $10, but
maybe next season.
Yeah, next season I will for sure. I just didn't have my process down early enough in the season. I was still focused on NHL.
Gotcha. Alrighty, let's do the plugs. We'll call it Live Before Lock as the promo code, but honestly, I don't really know which show this is. Live Before Lock, one big word. If you want to get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus, now's the perfect time to do it. NFL starting up in a couple days. Alex's projections for week 1 have been posted to the site. We have, thinking of everything I do, MMA, NASCAR, golf, baseball, hockey coming up soon, NBA coming up soon, NFL, tennis. What am I missing? Sports betting content across all sorts of sports. Soccer, it never fails. We have it all. Live Before Lock is the promo code to get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. And we're brought to you by Fantasy Draft, I guess. We'll go with Fantasy Draft. Congrats, Fantasy Draft. You win today. Go to fantasydraft.com. Use the promo code AWESEMO when signing up. You can get $1,000 in rake-free entries in your first 7 days. This is a spot to get rake-free. Hopefully, you got yourself a few Millie tickets from their lovely Tag 600 People promotion yesterday. That went well for my Twitter mentions and the Twitter mentions of some other people in this industry. But, all kidding aside, $1,000 of rake-free entries for 7 days is a substantial savings if you would hit that mark. It's a massive amount of money that doesn't get paid out that you get to maintain, and that's really as easy as it is. If you're going to play $1,000 in entry fees over a course of 7 days, you should probably do that on Fantasy Draft. You'll save a lot of money, and it's not like you're any less likely to win. So check it out, fantasydraft.com, promo code AWESEMO. 8 games, Jake. Do we have any weather on the horizon?
Not anything in the projections right now. I'm assuming people would ask right off the bat if there was anything crazy, but these being, at least in the 8-game slate, on DraftKings and FanDuel, these being early games, they're going to have some time to wait it out. Right. So looks like maybe the Yankees game, but it's probably going to clear out at some point.
Perfect. That's all we need. Ooh, just got the Mariners line up. So all we need are the Giants and the Cubbies. Let me add the Mariners here.
Big total for the Cubs. I didn't see this one last night or this morning.
Yeah, it's even higher than what I guessed before the line came out, which is kind of crazy.
It's not a wind game either, at least from what I'm looking at.
No. It doesn't appear that it's much of an issue, but it seems to be more of a play against Justice Sheffield, so I guess we'll get there. You ready to talk?
Yeah.
8 games. It's weird. We don't do strategy shows.
I know. Well, this is like our hybrid show, so
we don't do game by game. You and I know. It's been a while, so
I know it has been.
Let's do it. Actually, have we gotten an ownership update since the original?
No, I'm sure we'll get one at some point during the show pretty soon.
Okay. I don't have FanDuel loaded right now. I only have DK, but let me grab FanDuel quickly. At the very least, we'll get the pitching ownership, and that's not going to change all that much. Got a lot to talk about on that regard. Honestly, it's making me a little nervous. It's not fun, man. It's not fun. But let's do it. Yankees and Rangers, as we touched on before. A little wet one for New York. As of right now, I'm playing it straight. 5.6 run implied total for the Yanks, 4 for the Rangers, 66% chance to win for New York. Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees. Mike Minor going for the Rangers. Tanaka getting a sizable amount of ownership. 15 on Yahoo, pretty normal. 19 on FanDuel, pretty high for the one-pitcher site. 32 on DK, where he's 8,100. Not a ton of ownership coming into Mike Minor. Around 10% across all three sites. A little bit higher priced on DK. Similar price coming in to Tanaka on FanDuel. Let's start with Tanaka. What do you think of Masahiro Tanaka being, at least in our first draft of ownership, the chalk pitcher of the slate at 8,100?
I mean, he's been better for sure, but I don't know that this is like a phenomenal matchup for him. He's going to see some guys with power. Mazzara, Santana are guys I like against him. Odor is essentially all power when he can hit the ball. So it's a fine spot, I guess. But as the chalkiest pitcher on the slate and possibly some weather concerns, could be a start and stop issue if they don't treat this game correctly with the weather. I'm not buying it for, I guess, the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. So did you crunch already?
I crunched a little bit earlier. Not super interesting. Nothing really came up that I didn't expect. The mid-range seems to be the spot that is a little bit more interesting. Let me grab Alex's projections right now. I didn't see that they had been posted in my prep. God, I'm so hungry right now. All right, projections grabbed. So, okay, that's what I was expecting. So Alex has Tanaka, Desclafani, Hendricks, Wainwright, all very similar. And if Tanaka's going to get 32% and Desclafani's going to get 12 and Wainwright's going to get 19, like I'd rather just mix that up. I see all four of those guys as essentially equals. I actually prefer Wainwright slightly more than anybody else, but it's enough that it's basically a coin flip across four people. I just don't need to get 32% of Tanaka if they're already there. I'd rather just take 32% of Wainwright and 19 of Tanaka and 26 of Desclafani and 12 of Hendricks and flip-flop both of those guys.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I mean, I kind of like Hendricks better than Tanaka. You're paying up a little bit more. But this is one of those slates where if you sort by value, you're not going to find a lot of these mid-tier guys showing up with great value projections.
Right.
So like Yarbrough, Hendricks, Tanaka is in that group. Desclafani you mentioned as well. They're all really similar. So hard for me to make a big stand on any of these guys either way.
Yeah, it's more for me. It's more making stands against than making stands for.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, it doesn't take much adjustment in a projection to put Yarbrough, Soroka, Hendricks, Desclafani, Tanaka, Wainwright in any order from top to bottom, point per dollar. Very, very minor adjustments to any one of these guys. They're all inside the same sort of error bars. I couldn't comfortably pick one over the other in that range. And that bears out in the ownership. 125% of all of our projected ownership is going to those six guys. Right. I expect to have more than that total in that range, but also, it's going to go to all of them, I'd imagine.
Yep. Definitely agree there.
I don't have a ton of interest in Mike Minor on DraftKings, just too expensive. Don't really need him on FanDuel either, given the value in the mid-tier. Any interest in Minor against the Yanks?
Just a 9.7K pitcher on DK with a near 6 implied total against. So Minor's been awesome, but he never gets the numbers you want to see from Vegas, and the Yankees are a terrible matchup anyways.
True story. Let's talk about those Yankees.
Yeah,
how do you feel about them against Minor?
Well, I think they're too cheap. So Voit, unavoidable, batting 6th at 4,100 sticks out to me, as does Sanchez and Gleiber and LeMahieu and Judge. So I like the Yankees stack. I think they're going to be probably one of my highest exposed stacks. They just look underpriced, even though they're against a good pitcher. They're still in a good park, and it looks hot and humid when it's not raining in Yankee Stadium. So I really love them.
Yeah, you and me both. This is kind of a weird one. I have the Yankees second overall. They are, I think, sixth in ownership. So much of the ownership is going to Reds, Mets, Braves, Cubs. But I have multiple teams ahead of all of them. So I'm a little bit more interested. I certainly am not a fan of the Mets today, and they are getting the most ownership by far on DK. We'll see where that ends up. Actually, that might not even be valid anymore just because of how many lineups have come in since our last ownership update. But I am going to get a lot more of the Yankees if their ownership stays somewhere in like the 6% range.
Yeah, and we don't have the top stack tool updated just yet. Those numbers are still from yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was looking to see where the Yankees come in. They're going to have one of the better value ratings, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Them in like Tampa Bay. So I'm going to play a ton of them. I don't think they're going to be heavily overowned.
No, I'm going to get to quite a bit of Aaron Judge, quite a bit of Gleyber Torres, quite a bit of Gary Sanchez. I'm not telling anybody anything, any crazy stuff here. Righty-lefty matchup. Those guys are all fantastic hitters in their own right. Let's see. How has Minor been against Minor against lefties this year? 167 x ISO against righties, 131. Not going to stop me, even though he's a bit more reverse splits. I want all the New York Yankees if they're going to be unowned. Clint Frazier on FanDuel, flat minimum 2K. I think that stands out as a fantastic play.
Oh, he's back. I didn't even realize.
Yeah,
that's this lineup is so stacked.
Flat minimum on FanDuel.
Unreal. Yeah. I second that, man. I like it.
The only real problem for FanDuel is that you can only stack 2 of the 3 of Sanchez, Ford, and Voit.
Oh, all have catcher 1B.
Yep. Not that that's like some massive problem. There's still plenty of other bats in the lineup, but that's just sort of where we stand on the Yankees. I will be over the field for sure. But here's the more interesting piece. I'm going to be over the field on the Rangers.
I mean, they're unowned. Yeah, I don't mind taking some of their bats against Tanaka. Like I mentioned, Mazara, Santana, Odor, I think are all candidates for guys that I'll be playing. Lefty power in Yankee Stadium seems like they should have at least some ownership if Tanaka's getting ownership here.
And they have none, unless they made really widespread changes that have pulled the ownership out of there from our first one. I have the Rangers third overall right now, which up against Tanaka's 32% ownership, this is going to be a very huge leverage spot for me.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, not a bad spot to attack a pitcher who has not had a great season and the chalkiest pitcher on the slate.
Tanaka this season, 158 x ISO to lefties, 228 just regular ISO, but righties are hitting him just as hard. Striking out lefties just 17% of the time this season. So it makes me feel a little bit better about getting Santana, Odor, Guzman, Mazara, Chu. A little bit better of a spot, more likely to put the ball in the play. And if they do that, 118 park factor for left-handed power in Yankee Stadium. I'm really surprised to see the run total for Texas only be at 4. That's the only thing that's muting them here. But I see a lot of value in Texas, particularly against some ownership for Tanaka. On FanDuel, you can get like Guzman and Odor at really nice value spots. On Yahoo, the bottom 3 hitters in the order are all $7. Most expensive guy is Willie Calhoun. If you leave him out of a stack, there's no trouble getting to a contrarian Texas stack. I'm going to have a ton of this game. I just need it to play.
Yeah, I think it's going to be okay for playing. Like hitters, I'm not worried at all right now. It being a day game. They've got a few hours to mess around here.
Yeah. Like I said, as of right now, I'm playing it straight up. But this is a game that is very important to my day, so I would like to keep it around. Favorite bat in the entire game?
Gleyber Torres.
I might not disagree. Give me Sanchez, but we can flip a coin on it.
Yeah, that's also a great option.
Yeah, we're quibbling. Okay, Nats and Mets. Basically a coin flip game. 4-7 for the Nats, 4-8 for the Mets. It's Joe Ross going for Washington, Noah Syndergaard going for the Mets. So if you're curious, if you were ever trying to figure out the gap between the Nats offense and the Mets offense, it's whatever the gap is between Noah Syndergaard and Joe Ross. No ownership going to Joe Ross. The more interesting thing to me, no ownership going to Noah Syndergaard. And for the record, I completely agree with it. I will not have any sort of amount of Syndergaard here. I just don't see the need to pay up for him in a less than stellar matchup.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I can't get to Syndergaard. I think on Yahoo he's under $40. That might be a spot where you want to take a shot on him. But at 10K here, not even a big favorite. And then going up against the tough Nats lineup, probably going to be a pass for me. I do like some Nats bats. I mean, it's more for stolen base opportunity, but Turner, Eaton, you can take Soto against whoever. So I might even be able to get to a Nats stack. Because I think they all have great hitting matchups against Syndergaard, but the stolen bases are, of course, a huge thing. And then they've just got a bunch of good hitters overall.
I don't get the sense that I'm going to get to the Nats. It scares me a little bit to target against Syndergaard on this slate, especially if he's not owned. I'm not picking anything up going against him. Like if he were owned, I'd be more excited to go there. Otherwise, I'm just targeting something that's difficult. Now, look, Soto and Matt Adams and Rendon and even Turner to an extent, like these guys can hit anybody. But I'm not really worried about that. I just think we see Cubs at 5-9, Reds at 5-4, Cards at 5-1, Braves, Twins, Rays, Yankees, all these well north of 5 implied totals. I'm not sure I get to the Nats with anything other than like some one-offs for Soto and Adams.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if someone said they don't want to stack the Nats on this slate, like I don't blame you. It's not like this is a smash spot or anything. I just think sneaky stack is more what I'm looking at here for the Nats.
I get that. I have more interest in the Mets bats than I do the Nats bats, but as of right now, if this ownership is to be believed, they are one of the more owned teams on the slate. Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, Michael Conforto, J.D. Davis, Brandon Nimmo, all 15% or higher. Some of those guys are in the 30s on FanDuel. I don't totally know what to make of it, but if these guys really are as chalky as they're projecting, I'm just going to be nowhere near it. Why haven't the top stack tool been updated?
It usually gets updated on the second run of ownership.
Yeah.
There's not this one yet.
It's a day with early games. By the time you update that without lineups out, it's immediately invalid. So you wait till it settles. Lock's not for an hour and a half. That's all.
We got some time.
Yeah. Talk to me about the Mets.
Not wild about them, especially if they're going to get ownership on DK. Like Nimmo is a decent value, but I don't see anyone like priced ridiculously besides Nimmo on the Mets. I would have to jam him in for value. I don't think Ross is very good, but 6,600 here. I'm struggling to understand why he's not getting any ownership. A $6,600 pitcher with a below 5 implied total, and he doesn't grade out terribly for us at all. So I think I'm going to have the most of Ross in this game. He's got one of the better value grades for the guys around him on our projections. And if he's just going to be completely unowned, he's going to be a guy that gets filtered in for me. I might get 10, 12% of him or something like that if he's going to be 1% owned.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if I have somewhere in the 5 to 10 range. I have him behind Woj. I have him behind Tyler Beede. And then I have everybody on this slate behind Drew Smyly, which is just gross.
But we'll get there.
Yeah, I know. But I'd be, if Ross really is at 1%, I'm cool to get to like 5 to 10. I think that's perfectly reasonable in this spot, especially against the chalkiness of the Mets. If Ross happens to, pitch well for 6,600, it probably means that the Mets stack died. So
we look at the guys around Ross and just imply totals against. So Mets have 4.8. The Rays against Wojciechowski, 5.7. The Reds against Smyly, 5.4. Let's see. Beatty, the Cardinals against Beatty, 5.3. He's got lower implied total against than all those other guys.
I'm on Team Ross with you.
All right. There you go.
This is another spot where I don't have a huge gap between Ross, Woj, and Beatty. If I take 5%, give a 5% bump to Ross and a 5% discount to Beatty, then like Ross is a way better play. So they're all just jammed together. Ross getting no ownership makes it a little easier to get there. I'm with you on Nimmo, just underpriced across the industry. 10 on Yahoo, 23 on FanDuel, 34 on DraftKings. Fantastic, just one off. But no, I don't need to get to chalk Mets in this spot.
Agreed.
If they're let's say they are at 13% aggregate, which is what we have on DraftKings right now, I assume I'll have like 5 or 6.
Yeah, they're going to get filtered out. It's not that great of a spot against Ross here.
No. Rays and Orioles, 5.3 run implied total for the Rays, 3.3 for the Orioles, 71% chance to win for Tampa. Ryan Yarbrough for the Rays, Asher Woj for the O's. No real ownership going to Woj, 7% on DK. Yarbrough soaking it up, though. He's the most expensive pitcher on Yahoo, so you can skip him there. He's 7,600 on FanDuel, where he's getting 20% ownership. I 1,000% agree with that. He's the best pitcher on FanDuel today. 9,400 on DraftKings, 24% ownership. I'm a fan of Yarbrough. I wrote him up in Spotlight Pitchers. I think he's the best of the guys at the top, but I don't think that I'm going to go crazy. I assume I end up right around the field. How do you feel about Yarbrough?
On DraftKings, I don't know that I don't know that he's going to be my favorite guy. This isn't a Coors slate, but there are still some bats that I'd like to get up to. And if everyone's playing Yarbrough, he's only got a 22% K rate. He's done an awesome job of limiting power, and he's in a great park and against a bad team. But it's not like it's the nut strikeout matchup, I don't think. And he's not a big strikeout pitcher anyways. So win equity, of course, is huge. He's a good option, especially on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I'm fine with getting some Yarbrough. I doubt I'm going to be at 20+% though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I assume that I'm right around 20 to 25, right where the public is. But yeah, 7,600 on FanDuel. That one's a bargain. Yep. I'll have a little bit of Woj on DK. I don't really need him anywhere else.
I'm going to have a bunch of Woj on DK. Okay. Just a guy who's priced too low for his strikeout upside, 24% on the season. Of course, gives up a bunch of power, and you can still be okay if he gives up a few runs here at 6,200. So he's probably my favorite cheap guy. Where's his ownership right now? Yeah, 7? Under 10. Yeah, I like that a lot. Assuming it sticks somewhere in the 10% range. He might be he's not going to be my highest owned pitcher, I don't think, but it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world if I got like 35% or so Woj here.
I have essentially zero interest in the Orioles across the board. Trumbo for the minimum on Yahoo is interesting. He's 3,200 on DK, 2,400 on FanDuel. It's fine. I don't have a ton of interest in Baltimore. What I do have some interest in is the Tampa Bay Rays. They come in as my number 5 stack overall, but they are very efficient, the third best in value. On my dummy crunch this morning, the Rays just came in with reckless abandon. I expect them to be one of my higher owned teams. They are just grading out really well. Mr. Wendell, if he is leading off. Only 3K with dual eligibility on DraftKings, 2,100 on FanDuel. It's just a bargain. Not really picking up any ownership either. I want everybody on this Rays team on basically every site. I guess I don't really need a ton of $16 Willy Adames on Yahoo. And they're not super cheap on Yahoo. But FanDuel and DraftKings, I'm going to be way over the field on the Rays.
They look like a great stack. Like I mentioned, Woj gives up a ton of power. He does have swing and miss. So that's why this is a super high variant outcome. You're hoping to catch the high variant outcome one way or the other. So I'm certainly going to be on the Rays. Wendell at 3K on DraftKings is pretty tough to avoid at second base or third. If you're talking about like a cash game, hard to find a better player than 3K batting leadoff for a team with a 5.7 implied total.
Yep.
There's underpriced. So yes, they're probably going to be a little overowned, maybe as 5-man stacks, but they look like great options here, regardless.
Yeah, I just want to be here against Woj, take the chance. 5.3 run implied total. I mean, I wish this was in Baltimore, but maybe it being in Tampa will keep people off of it.
You think so?
I mean, more so than if it were flip-flopped, that's for sure.
Yeah. Where are they at in the aggregate ownership?
9th.
All right. Wow, that's...
But again, I mean, how much actual ownership do we have as of right now?
Yeah, I guess with Wendell...
We only have 645% of the ownership accounted for, so we're short 150% of the ownership.
Okay.
That makes but even still, like, Meadows and Pham were both at 11%. Everybody else was 5 or below. They're not really getting owned.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's... If they're not a top 5 owned stack, then I think that's a mistake. I have to imagine they're going to be, though.
So I think the reason that they don't get that high is because of the Mets. If the Mets maintain that, they're sort of the opposite, or they're sort of like the slightly better per dollar play. And I think that's what's keeping them down, because the Mets are flying to the top. Now, that's just a guess. We could rerun ownership shortly, and everything that I say ends up being useless. Mm-hmm. New Seattle lineup. Somebody get scratched?
New Seattle?
Yeah. There's an updated Mariners lineup.
Was Fraley in there? You know?
Let me see. No, he was not. Yes, he was, but he was hitting 6th. Now he's hitting 2nd. Malik Smith, Fraley. So Tim Lopes is out.
Oh, too bad. Everyone's favorite value.
Yeah, he's done so. So let me go ahead and update that Mariners lineup. And then we can move on to the Minnesota Jakes. Unless you have more Rays Orioles takes.
Nope.
Let's update Mariners. Done. There we go. Alrighty, to the Jakes we go. Tigers and Jakes. 4.3 run implied total for the Tigers. 5.7 for the Twins. 63% chance to win for Minnesota. Jordan Zimmerman versus Jake Odorizzi. No ownership at all coming into Jordan Zimmerman. 13% on Yahoo, 11 on DK, 6 on FanDuel for Odorizzi. Let's start with Zimmerman. You getting there at all? I don't think I will be.
I've been getting to some of these cheap pitchers against the Twins lately. I guess this weekend I got to some Twins, or some pitchers against the Twins that's super cheap, but that was more Coors slates. I don't see a need right now to get to Zimmerman. I don't think it's a good spot at all, even for a $5,300 pitcher. Twins, I think they're the highest total on Alex's. They're higher than the Cubs right now on the Osmo lineups page. So they've just been amazing all year against righties and lefties. They've got their A lineup in, super deep. Twins bats are the most important thing for me here.
Yep.
I would like to get 0 Zimmerman if I could.
Yeah, Twins are my number 1 stack. They were not getting any real ownership before. First 4 guys into the 10 area. I'm going to have, I hope, 2 to 3 times the field. I want to target the Twins. I want it all from top to bottom. I'll be forcing them in no matter what. I like the Twins more than anything else. I think Eddie Rosario is probably my favorite play for the Twins, 4,600. Do you expect to get to Odorizzi? he's my favorite guy, and like I like him more than Syndergaard and Minor, but I don't get the sense that I'm paying 10-5 for it.
Yeah, man, that is a really difficult price to pay. 10-5. It's Detroit, but that still seems like $1,000 to $1,500 overpriced for Odorizzi based on what he's been outside of the first month or two of the season. So it's just too much.
He's not really any different than like Ryan Yarbrough.
Yeah, exactly. A little higher K rate, but that was boosted. He had like a 30% K rate like mid-May. So he's regressed a little bit. He's been good. I don't want to act like I'm taking a ton of Tigers.
Here's the most interesting thing. I know you have this on your screen too. Odorizzi, Syndergaard, Minor, Yarbrough, Soroka. They are all between 15.4 and 15.8 fantasy points in Alex's projections. So
yeah, it's so interchangeable. So just take your super guy.
Yeah. And Adam Wainwright at 15.5 in the mid tier, also in that exact same range.
Right.
Like 8 of the same dude going today.
There's so many just like mediocre values that are priced like in the 8 to 10K range. So Odorizzi is in that tier. He's just whatever. I doubt I end up on much Odorizzi at all.
Yeah. But we're in agreement that we're on team smash the Twins, right?
Yeah. So they have Garver at 5,500, Cruz at 57, and then Kepler at 53. So I don't know. I love when that happens. They only have one guy priced below 4,100 or 4K, which is Arias. He needs to get priced up a little bit. He's just so good in twin stacks because he's constantly on base, keeps innings alive. Like he's just a good hitter, even though he doesn't have power. So perfect guy to stack as one of your better values in this Twins onslaught that we're hopefully going to have. So yeah, the Twins are going to be my number one stack.
Boom. Makes me happy. We're in agreement on this one. How many Tigers bats are you getting to?
I probably won't get to many at all.
That would be fine by me. I don't have anybody to add for the Tigers. We are through 4 games of 8. So the midway point seems like a perfect time for you guys to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. This is going to be it for us today. Labor Day, just getting the show in for a Monday. We'll be back to normal tomorrow with all sorts of content for you guys. MLB, NFL, it all begins tomorrow. So buckle up, everybody. We're going to have a hell of a day.
It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, these next couple weeks are going to be real rowdy.
Until everyone starts complaining that they're losing money in NFL.
Yeah. I'll be starting that complaint at about 2:30 p.m. Eastern time Sunday.
Yeah, like why did we wait all summer for this terrible sport?
Yeah. Braves and Jays, 5-7 for the Braves, 3-7 for the Jays, 70% chance to win for Atlanta. Mike Soroka versus Jacob Wagsback. Soroka, 13% on Yahoo, 8 on FanDuel, 12 on DraftKings. Wagsback unowned. I think we're going to agree here. No Wagsback.
No Wagsback. If the Twins aren't my number one stack, it might be because the Braves get there. They 6 implied total going up against Wagsback here. They're just, I don't know. I don't see a lot of weak spots in this lineup either. And Albies is a great value for 4,600 batting second. You get Joyce in there batting middle of the order for 4K against righties. Acuna priced up, Freeman priced up, as they should be. But I love this stack, especially the top half of the lineup.
I'll have them. Probably just going to be around the field. Just prioritize a couple other teams. I actually really like Soroka today at 9,200. He comes in that same crop like we were talking about, but just from like a theory perspective, he's got the lowest ownership of everybody in that group that is going to get any ownership. And he doesn't really get touched up all that much. So I think he's uniquely set up to be efficient against the Blue Jays. I mean, they just have a massive amount of like swing and miss and power. And I think that plays really well for Soroka. I could see him going really deep into this game really efficiently. It might not be the best DFS game, but it wouldn't surprise me if he went and picked up a Maddox and threw a complete game with 90 pitches.
That's like exactly what I'm picturing here as well, because he doesn't get lit up with power. He does a good job inducing weak contact, and he's a big favorite. You hope he gets a lead early and he can just kind of mow through these Blue Jays. So
yeah.
I don't think it's a great price for Soroka because it basically never is. The DK algorithm is broke on him, but compared to Yarbrough, I have no problem going with Soroka over Yarbrough and saving the $200
and saving half of the ownership.
That's weird to me. It's the same spot. Like if you
ownership just updated, and we got the Cubs lineup.
Well, there you go.
Let's get all of that information right now before we keep moving. Because anything we say now is fucking useless until we know if ownership is moved.
No Baez in the Cubs lineup. That isn't great, but they did play Rizzo. Team B says.
I'm grabbing ownership. Chris Bryant, chalk.
Mm-hmm.
Yarbrough, Smyly, Tanaka, Wainwright are the 4 highs on DK.
So that's not anything, they changed a couple percentage points. But, did you mention Wainwright in there? Yarbrough, Hendricks, Smyly, Tanaka, Wainwright?
Yeah. Yarbrough, Soroka, Hendricks, Desclafani, Tanaka, Wainwright. 23, 21, 23, 13, 22, 22. We are just hella flat. Smyly came down, which is exciting.
Do you think your pitching exposure is going to be flat? Because when there's a bunch of guys bunched up like that, for me, my pitching exposure is usually really flat unless people just are missing on a good play.
I mean, other than getting like a really stupid amount of Drew Smyly, which is about to happen. Yeah, I mean, I'll have more Hendricks and Wainwright than I think I'll have anybody else in that tier. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like 60 of one and 0 of the other. It's going to be flatter at the very least.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we could talk. Let me grab that Cubs lineup, and then I guess we could talk about like team stack percentages in the chalk now, since we actually have the update.
Do we have it? I'm assuming it's in there.
I mean, I'll have it. Like, I can run it and look at it.
All right, we got it. It is updated.
Oh, like top stack tool is updated?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then feel free to hit the people with it.
You're gonna like we're gonna like the Minnesota. They are right now the most under-owned team on the slate on DraftKings. Most over-owned team. Wow, we were on it today.
John Hicks scratched. Not that that's going to be terribly meaningful.
No, that's not going to matter. Most over-owned team on DraftKings, the New York Mets.
Call that one.
Yeah. The Nats are a little over-owned. Maybe that's just one.
I agree.
The highest value on the slate right now is the Cubs by a mile. Highest top stack percentage is the Twins by a half of a mile. Let's see. Ownership share. Cubs, Met. Why are the Mets the second highest owned team?
Right? How great does it feel to fade that shit?
I mean, it's not going to feel great when Conforto triple dongs, but...
I mean, he's a good value either way. I'll be happy to get him as a one-off. If I get 30 lineups with Conforto as a one-off and no other part of the Mets, I think I'd be happy.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like it's a fine spot against Ross, but not one where I'm hammering them in my lineups. They're cheap at the bottom of the lineup, I suppose, with Panic and Rivera, but
I'll have a ton of the Twins, a ton of the Yankees, a ton of the Rangers. I'll be avoiding the Mets like the plague. I'm not a huge fan of the Braves, just where they're at right now, but I'm still going to have some exposure to them. No, I like it. I'm pretty happy about this. The Cubs are just... You said they were the top value?
Top value, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense to me. They fly off the page in my stuff too, so...
Yep.
But oddly, like, second chalkiest stack, which is kind of crazy.
The Cubs?
Yeah.
I've got them as 12.9% ownership share. Mets 12.1.
I have 12.1 and 10.1. I know why it's wrong. That top stack tool doesn't have updated ownership for the Cubs lineup, whereas I am adding them up.
That'll do it
with the new lineup. So
okay. So it got bias out of there, I'm sure.
Yeah. So that makes some sense. Any Blue Jays bats against Soroka? Because I don't want a single one.
Nah, I'm good. Not a guy I love targeting against. We just got the Giants, so we are all set.
Dope. That means that I can go get lunch at a more reasonable time now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do after this. It's going to be great. I don't even know what I'm going to get, though, so we'll see. It'll be a game time call.
Probably Chipotle?
You make a good point. I don't know. Could be.
Chipotle, wash it down with the LaCroix?
Yeah, that's a lock. I mean, I don't have to worry about doing live before lock tonight, so I'll just be slamming those while I'm grinding some college football showdown or something.
Any Labor Day drinking for you, or is today just a tame day for you?
No, working. Like, it's football starting, so I got a bunch of stuff to do. I'll be working with Nolan later today.
Yeah, I will be prepping for the impending hurricane.
Yeah, that sounds way less fun.
Yeah, it's going to get Roslyn first, I guess, and then come get me like 2 or 3 days later.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Are you going to be able to do shows? You're probably not going to be able to do anything later.
It's going to be up in the air starting Wednesday night into Friday or Saturday.
So you're going to have to make a call on whether or not to evacuate, right?
As of right now, I don't think we're going anywhere. It would have to be a very high level category for us. If it's just a lot of, like, at a 2 for our house, wind is the problem for us more than rain. If we flood, Wilmington is in very, very big trouble. Our front door is pretty far off of the road, not just from like a distance perspective, but from like a
height.
Up and down. Yeah. Like if I could walk out of a plank out of my front door, I'm probably like 30 to 40 feet above the road. So for water to get to my front door, we've got way bigger issues than anything else that's going on. I'll never get out. The town's just fucked. Wind, though, we have trees everywhere. So that's really my biggest issue. So as of right now, we're sitting it out. Although we said that last time, and then we ended up in Asheville for 5 days. So
yeah, I remember that.
This time last year, it was like week 2 of the NFL season or something. I had to produce On the Contrary from a hotel room. I took my whole setup, took the whole desktop and everything, and packed it into the car. It was like the only thing I cared about. Yeah, no Blue Jays bats. 3 more games to go. Reds and Phillies. You ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
5.4 run implied total for the Reds, 4.7 for the Phils. Anthony Desclafani versus Drew Smyly. Let's put Desclafani down to start. 12% ownership on Yahoo at $35. He's 7 on FanDuel, 13 on DK. I think he's a comparable value to everybody that is in that sort of area, but he is about to face 3, 4, 5, 6 lefties in Cincinnati. This is a really scary spot to be heavy on Desclafani.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, Brad Miller and like Hesley and Knapp, like they're not the best lefties, but Desclafani has huge splits. These are Hernandez. So you're not worried that much about lefty power besides Dickerson and Harper. And of course, he's always going to face some lefties, but I agree. He's comparable to the other guys in his range. I don't think he's going to be my highest owned guy in that range. I'd rather get up to Soroka if I could. I really love Harper. I really love Dickerson against him. So I could see that being a pretty nice 2-man stack. Talking about your boy Smyly, 4,600 against the Reds. He's going to get ownership. I'm going to have a bunch of him. I'm probably going to be over the field on him because I want to get up to Minnesota and Atlanta, and he makes it work. I kind of wish DK would stop pricing guys down like this because I have to play him. And if he does anything that he's done in the last 4 starts, between 6 and 8 fantasy points, you're probably still going to be okay, assuming your stat goes off. There's no one else down in his range that I think makes for even an okay play, and he's okay here, it looks like. No Suarez for Cincinnati, too.
I think okay is an understatement. For me, he is like a staggering top value in this spot. Like 20 to 30% better value on a per dollar basis than any other pitcher on the slate. I'm terrified about running him out. It's just a sea of righties. Now, am I worried that much about Jose Iglesias and Kurt Casale and Kyle Farmer? No. Alex Blandino, whatever that is? No. But he still drew Smyly. My hope is that he can survive long enough to grab a couple Ks and then get the hell out of there. That's all I need. He will be my most exposed pitcher. It is not close. That said, I would be happy to get some Reds on the opposite side. I will have both sides of this game for sure.
Similar to what I was talking about with Wojciechowski, huge range of outcomes here because there's going to be value on one side or the other, if assuming it's not just a middling performance on both sides. So you've got cheap Reds bats, you've got super cheap Smyly at chalk. You should be exposed to this game in MME. I think I'm going to have more Smyly than Reds, but wow, Aquino, I just noticed his price at 5,800.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable. They're not the best righties here for Cincinnati, but they're just going to get thrown in the optimizer because it's a 5.4 implied total, and they've got a bunch of guys under 4K.
I'll probably just be with the field on the Reds. Nothing too crazy because I don't really think that they themselves are fantastic plays. I think most of these guys stink. But just being on the opposite side of some of that Smyly ownership, I want to hold it all off. But Drew Smyly is by far my favorite pitcher on DraftKings, even though he succeeds like not a lot in this spot.
I think he's okay like half the time in this spot, probably. Half the time he's
fine by me. What would you have to be offered right now to bank Smyly?
To what?
Like, how many points would you have to be given to just be like, that's what I'll take?
Probably like 10 or 11. I think he can get you 15, 16 here. Because he can strike guys out.
Yeah, look, if he doesn't give up a home run, he probably smashes here.
Oh, if he doesn't give up a home run, I'm playing 100% of Smyly. Like,
right.
If you told me that. Because that's his issue.
Right.
It's 3 runs per 9.
Look, I'm going to have a lot of Smyly. I think he's the best dollar for dollar option on the slate on a day where I don't really think that any other pitcher is the same sort of value. They're just sort of like average at best. I will regret what I'm saying. Give me all of the Smyly. No Suarez in the lineup is massive.
Did he get hurt? Why would they not play him?
He hurt his hand.
Oh. Well, okay. That makes sense then. Yeah, I mean, couldn't have gotten a better lineup. So,
guys, I didn't say to bang Smyly. I said to bank Smyly.
Wow, chat is feisty today.
Phillies bats against Desclafani. Harper obviously looking pretty tasty.
Harper Dickerson.
Yeah. Brad Miller, I'm in for. 3,500 dual eligibility. Minimum salary on Yahoo, too. He's probably the best play dollar for dollar on the Phils.
Yeah, he's the optimizer play. What's he getting owned?
Brad Miller?
Yeah.
A lot. He's chalk.
Yeah, 15s. Wow.
Sorry, I'm answering a question in our Slack. All right, 2 to go. Cards and Giants, 5.1 run implied total for the Cards, 3.8 for the Giants, 64% chance to win for St. Louis. Adam Wainwright versus Tyler Beatty. Wainwright picking up love, 20% owned on Yahoo, 20% owned on DK, 10% owned on FanDuel. I'm a fan, I guess. I don't think much of the Giants offense. I don't think much of Adam Wainwright either, but on this slate, again, he's kind of like the cheapest decent value in the middle of the pack. So, I'm cool to get to around 20% of Wainwright as well. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, such an average spot, like all these other guys. Like he got a decent implied total going against. It's not a great team in the Giants. You wouldn't expect him to rack up strikeouts here, but at 7,600, he's going to be in play on this slate at the very least. I don't really love the 20% ownership on him, but I also don't love it for anyone else that's getting that kind of ownership. So I will get to some Wainwright. I'm not going to have more Wainwright than like Hendricks. I can just tell right now. He's just another guy that's going to get filtered in and out for me. It's not going to be a day where I make major stands at pitching outside of depending on what I do with Smyly here. So probably not getting to too many Giants bats. Cardinals are somewhat interesting, at least in that they're going, they've got some value and they're not getting overowned. So they're a decent pivot off of like the Cubs, who are just going to be really chalky now that they've got no buys in the lineup. Robel Garcia in there for 2,900 and they were leading off at 35.
Josh, you really playing the ones you say you are for stacking Minnesota and Cincy? Yeah, why would I tell you guys the opposite stuff?
Because to get an edge, man.
Guys, here's the deal. I've been sharing my screen with everything that I do for 2.5 years. Like, of all the people that could be showing you anything in this industry, I think I've shown you guys the most.
Yeah, I think you've done a pretty good job of being transparent. So not that this even needs to be talked about. Right. That's probably one guy I've never seen stream that, but
I opened it all up, the entire thing on my screen for a while now. I promise you I'm playing what I say I'm playing. Now, if I load a crunch up here and it doesn't show up, like I also tell you that in the moment. I can only like guess as of right now, but
things change around.
Right.
There's scratches, there's different ownership, that everything is connected. So it's not going to be 100% accurate hours out from the slate starting.
Any Giants bats?
I don't think so. Yeah. They don't grade out very well at all. Yeah. Do you
I actually agree with Josh, but I think Red Stack goes off. Yeah, like I don't disagree. I'm going to play the Reds. What I think that the Reds are going to do has this is going to sound weird. That doesn't change how I feel about Smyly. I don't like, they're not the same thing to me because I can play both sides. It can be a bad spot for Smyly and he can be underpriced.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, if we were just trying to predict, like, if you didn't have salaries, then no one would ever play Drew Smyly in this spot. You would want to play Reds, but because Drew Smyly has a $4,600 price tag on DraftKings, I have to play Drew Smyly.
Yeah, I think you have to be on both sides of it.
Yep.
I don't have to be on the Reds, but I think you have to play some Smyly because of what he allows you to get when you've got the Twins and the Braves and possibly the Yankees, which that game we might need to circle back on.
Yeah, I just saw Alex post.
Yeah. Possibly going to get postponed, so I don't know.
Alrighty. Cardinals bats, really like Goldschmidt. Don't really care all that much about getting to a lot of St. Louis, but I'll have a little bit.
Like I said, there would be a pivot off of like the Cubs, our team that's in like the smash spot. They got a lower implied total and all that, but still some decent pricing here against Beatty. So I like Goldschmidt and DeJong the best.
Cubbies and Mariners, let's close it out. Big total for the Cubs, 5.9, Mariners 3.5. Kyle Hendricks, Justice Sheffield. Hendricks getting some love across the industry, 14 on Yahoo, 11 on FanDuel, 23 on DK. Happy to have him because the Mariners are very bad and they strike out a lot. Hendricks not a big strikeout guy. I don't have any interest in Justice Sheffield, so talk to me about what you're doing with Kyle Hendricks.
I'm playing a bunch of Kyle Hendricks. He's like my least favorite DFS pitcher, but him and Soroka here, I think, make a ton of sense on a slate where you're lacking upside in the mid-tier and possibly your higher upside arm and Tanaka is going to be wiped off the slate. So Like, what's the difference between Yarbrough, Soroka, and Hendricks? It's minuscule. Their pricing is similar on the two pitcher sites. I like Hendricks just as much as those other two guys. So massive favorite here, minus 306 that I'm seeing against a not great Seattle team. Don't expect him to get a bunch of strikeouts, but you expect him to go pretty deep into this game. Like, exact same analysis that you had for Soroka.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add there. That we're on the same page. Cubbies. Chalk. Lots of it. They're super cheap. Justice Sheffield is a lefty that isn't spectacular. They got a lot of quality righties. I don't see any real way to get away from some of this Cubs ownership. I mean, a lot of these guys just look like incredible point per dollar options.
Yeah, they're chalk, but I think they're good here.
Robel Garcia is 2,900.
So no buys in the lineup. Yeah, the Cubs lineup isn't as good, but now you get Robel Garcia at 2,900 batting fifth. It's just crazy value all over the place here for the Cubs. Is anyone in this lineup going overlooked? Like, what are Rizzo and Schwarber getting?
They're both at 1%, but I assume that's because of I don't think it's like, I think that's not super valid right now.
Okay.
I think that changes when we get a new one.
Got it.
And then Robel Garcia is going to be 25 to 30% owned.
Oh, we don't have Rizzo in the ownership because I don't think he was in the projected lineup.
Right. Same for Robel Garcia. His number is going to skyrocket. He's one of the best values on the day. Flat minimum on FanDuel as well.
So this is I'm going to play a ton of Cubs.
Yeah, me too.
They're chalk. Everyone knows they're like the best value, but for a chalk team that's clearly the best value, they're not getting as much ownership right now as I would anticipate. You see on some of these teams, and they're also good. They're a good team with a high implied total too. So just mispriced, I think. So I'm taking advantage.
Yeah, I have no interest in Mariners bats. I don't know. Outside of Jake Fraley is a nice value. I don't want anything here though.
I got nothing really on the Mariners here.
Well, then we are done. 8 games up, 8 games down. We've been on for 58 minutes. We timed that out to a T. Lock coming up in an hour. We're going to get out of here, though, for you. Hit the like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Use the promo code live before lock. You can get yourself 50% off of Awesemo Plus. Once again, shout out to Fantasy Draft for being the presenting sponsor. Go to fantasydraft.com. Use the promo code Awesemo. Get up to $1,000 in rake-free entries in your first 7 days. It's an incredible savings compared to the rest of the industry. So if you are playing around $1,000, any amount of money up to $1,000. If you're playing it, just go check it out at Fantasy Draft. Jake, top stacks, and then let's get out of here.
Yes. Minnesota Twins, number 1. The Braves are number 2. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet with the Yankees. Right now, I'm leaning towards getting off of it because you've got some other decent options. And if you follow the Awesemo Weather account, which you guys should all be following, Alex just had a pretty interesting tweet. He's indecisive about what to do with the Yankees game, so that's worrying me a little bit. My sneaky stack, well, I thought that was going to be sneaky, was going to be the Nationals, but they're getting ownership. Just want to hit on the Cubs, reiterate that I'm going to also play a ton of Cubs, and I know they're chalk.
By the way, we need to do dong picks.
Oh, yeah.
So, as far as I know, no one got one yesterday.
I don't
Torres and Sanchez didn't homer. I don't think Chapman did. Olsen did. So, standings are all the same, 29, 29, 25, 22, 10, with Spags bringing up the rear in pick rate. Jake, the floor is yours. Who would you like as your dong pick? I've got mine in the chamber. I really hope that you don't go there.
I will take Nelson Cruz.
Whew. Okay. Not that isn't a fantastic pick, because it clearly is. You can have Nelson Cruz. I will take Aquino.
Nice. Good pick.
Nelson Cruz is in.
Yeah, Makad just sent us a tweet also.
Aristis Aquino in for me. I don't know if we'll get anything else from The rest of the crew, it's a bit of a different day. But there we go. Dong picks are in. I'll be in Slack for a little bit right now. We have all the lineups and stuff. Barring a surprise where the weather is much worse than I forecast, I assume they will play if they start in a delay. Good to know. All right, guys. Best of luck today. Please enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. We will be back tomorrow with a sea of content. Floodgates open tomorrow, guys. Get excited. Best of luck.